In this video, I'm going to talk about the DBCC commands that are used in SQL Server. Okay, DBC stands for Database Consistency Check. And what's database consistency check? Okay, what happens is whenever you are using a database actually also gets into the wear and tear mode. You have to keep on checking the database to see that your database is actually correct from the administration and using point of view. Okay, and there are no torn pages, the indexes are correct, the data pages are correct into it. Okay, let's go and actually check some of the options with the DBCC database consistency check options. Okay, now let's take the DBCC check DB that checks the database. Okay, it takes a parameter as the pubs. Okay, that is the database names. Now as you can see, checking the local and physical integrity of the database will run the following DBCC command: DBCC check alloc, check DBCC check table, and DBCC check catalog. Okay, these are the three commands will be run automatically when you are actually running a command that is DBCC check DB or a database. Okay, whenever you run this command, all these three DBCC command also runs automatically irrespective whether you run it or not. That is how actually the SQL Server works. Okay, now what does check DB command actually does? Okay, it validates the contents of every index view in the table, validates the link label consistency check between the table, meta table, and the file system directories and files when storing the var binary data in a file system using the file stream. Okay, validates the server broker data in the database. There are many other options actually. If you want to go and we will see it later. Okay, it is a very large topic. Okay, what is going, but if you want to actually check the database, this is the command. Okay, now it has also many other options. Suppose if you knew that you had a lot of non-clustered index, and you had been actually building the non-clustered index very frequently, and you did not have any doubts about your non-clustered index that they had any problem, so you can run the check DB command with no index options. Okay, when you run this option, the check DB commands actually runs the check DB, runs the database checkup without actually checking the index. Which index? That are non-clustered that you have created. Now let's go to another next command. Okay, let's go and run this one of the first command. Let's run the check DB. Let's see what happens. It's executing the query. Then we will run the next command with no index. Here we are. Okay, as you can see that it has actually generated a report. Now let's go and run the next command. Okay, now without an index. What does that mean? That no clustered index, no non-clustered index would be checked. Only clustered index would be checked. Okay, there is only one clustered index on the data on the table. Okay, always remember that thing. And there are many, you can have many non-clustered index. Okay. The total number of index, I think so, is approximately 999 you can have. Okay. So let's run the command, execute. Again there is a similar type of a report that has been generated. Warning, no index option of the check DB being used. Check on the non-system index will be skipped. Okay, that's it. Let's go to the next option. Now the next option actually would be executed only, you can use that option only when you have put the database into single user mode. There is no other way of actually running this command. Okay, you have to be in a single user mode. Okay, so first you put the database into single user mode by selecting alter database pub set single user mode and give an execute command. Okay, the database is now in the single user mode. Now I can actually repair the database with the repair allow data loss. Okay, what it does, it tries to repair all the errors, but it may cause some data error, may cause some loss to the data. Okay. There we go. Okay, it has actually run the command. Okay, and let's go and see what the details are. Here our details are. Okay, these are what the report is being generated and is telling you. Okay, just check out your database will be actually generating a different thing. Now actually already I am in the single user mode, so I need not execute the for the single user mode. I will skip that thing. Okay, this dbcc check db pubs repair fast. Okay, we are not going to use this command. This command does not do anything in the 2008. It is just for the backward compatibility of the database. Okay, let's go to the next option of the dbcc command, dbcc check db. Now this is actually for rebuilding the database. What does it do? Okay. It performs a repair that have no possibility of the data loss. Okay, means if there is a possibility of the data loss, it will skip it, repairing the missing row in the non-clustered index, and more time consuming repair such as rebuilding the index. Okay, that is what it does. Let's execute this command. This is with the repair rebuild. Okay, again it has generated a report. Okay, showing what it has done. You can go through the report upon your own SQL server to find out what the details are. Now remember that when you do not specify with the all error message and you use a rebuild, okay, SQL server will limit the error message up to 200 error message per object. Okay. And do not run this option from the SQL Server Management Studio, because the SQL Server Management Studio has a limitation of 1000 error only. So always run it from the TSQL, that is SQL command. Now let's go and run this command from here. Let's go and execute the command. We are. It is showing all the error messages. Usually this database doesn't have many. Production database would have many error messages in the bad times. Now there is another option with the tab lock. What does the tab lock option do? The tab lock option will cause the check DB to run faster because it locks the table. Instead of actually, whenever it actually is running without a tab lock option, it is creating a database snapshot in the temp table or somewhere in the temp table. Okay, this actually slows down the running of the dbcc check db command. Okay, this option may take a exclusive lock on the database. Okay, for a very short time. The side effects of it is that decreasing the concurrency of the database while a dbcc check db command is running. This command is also the similar syntax, only with the change with the word with the tab lock. Okay, that's it. And then I'm going to execute this command and show it to you. Here we are. The report has been generated. Okay, what the dbcc command has done on the pubs database. Let's move to the next option. Now there is the option with the estimate only. What does that estimate means? It will only give you the estimate of the temp db space that your check db option would be requiring to actually run. Okay, it won't run the check db option. It will only give you the estimate of the temp db, means the space that temp db would be taking. Now let's run this option and see what it does. Okay, let's move to the next one. Now there is another option with the physical only. Okay, this is a option that limits the checking to the integrity of the physical structure of the page and the record header, the physical structure of the binary tree, and the allocation consistency of the database. This check is designed to provide a small overhead check of the physical consistency of the database, but it can also detect the torn pages, check some failures and common hardware failures that can compromise of the user data. Let's run this database option and see. Let's execute it. There we are. Let's put the database back into the multi-user mode. Database, and execute the command, and our database is back into the multi-user mode. suppose if you wanted to check the clustered index of the titles table, here is the syntax. DBCC update usage, okay, that is pub is the database name, title is the table name, and UPKCL title ID end is the index name, and you can select this statement and execute it, okay, and it will run the query and it will show that it did not actually print any error message. Okay, if it was, it would try to correct it. Okay, let's go to the next option. This is the update usage with count rows. If you use this option, it will actually start counting the rows, which will actually slow down your query and the update usage data. The query is running. Do not use this option, but anyway I will show it to you. Okay, go to the next option. Let's go to the next option of DBCC. This is with no info message. Okay, what does it do? It does not actually show any messages to you. Okay, it runs without the info messages. There we are. To check a table, index option similar to the database. It does not actually check the non-clustered index. I can run this option. Okay, DBCC check table. Execute it. Let's go to the next option. This is again very similar to the database only. Check table. Okay, execute it with the estimate only. Okay, that will give you the temp DB actually how much space the temp DB requires to execute this check table. It does not actually execute the check table command. It only gives you the estimate. Okay, again the same thing, alter database into the single user mode. If you want to run the future commands, okay, let's go and execute. Now the database again is in the single user mode. Let's go and use some other SQL. Okay, this is DBCC check DB with a repair for, similar to the database only, very similar. There is no difference in what they do. Only the one checks the database and the other would check the table. It's required. Text as it is. I won't execute every one of them because you can always do it on your own computer, on your own server. Okay. Now the other options I will take it in the next part of the video. That's it.